Today we're going to talk about how to use your Contact Manager. Now you can access the Contact Manager by putting your mouse on Contacts, and as you notice there's a little arrow pointing down, which means there's many other options underneath the word Contacts. The first choice is Go to Contacts, and that's where you're going to go to what we call the summary view of your Contact Manager. You can also add contacts, export contacts, schedule reminders, and do a whole lot more. You'll also want to check out Tools because there's a lot of features under Tools. So for right now, put your mouse on Contacts and select Go to Contacts. Now, when you first come to your Contact Manager, you have a lot of other choices here. These are very similar to the ones that you saw here from the drop down, so that you don't have to go back to the drop down choice. And you'll see your contacts over here on the left hand side in this very first column. You can sort these by clicking on the up arrow or the down arrow for the first name or last name, so this way you can sort by first name or last name. You'll have the phone number, the time zone that someone's in. You actually can even click on the phone number and it will take you to another field, another screen where you can learn more about that particular contact and where they're from. So we've got a bunch of other columns here across the way. The one on the very right tells you, well, let's go all the way over to the right here. The one on the very right tells you here if your contact is verified or not. A verified contact means, V stands for verified, that our system will allow you to send email to that prospect. You can also click here and send and write notes, schedule reminders, or delete your contact. But you can learn more about these specific details by coming over here and clicking on the actual name of your prospect, which we suggest you do. We tell you right here, click on the contact name to see details. Now before we actually do that, you've got a view of a group that defaults to Took Survey. So whenever you first come to the Contact Manager, you will by default come to the Took Survey group as long as you have at least one prospect that has completed a survey on your website. There will be other fields here. We have a group called All Groups, the name of your actual website, and Personal if you've added anyone personally. We also, though, have groups here, so you'll notice when we click on All Groups, you'll see that there are more contacts than what we initially saw. Now, an important thing here, let me scroll back over just a little bit here, is that whenever you send email to a prospect, if they opened it, you'll see it in this column here called Email Open. We also would create a group called Opened Email that you'd find in here. Now right now you don't see this because we haven't sent any email out, as this is a demo account. Also, whenever you've sent out email from our system and anyone has clicked on the link inside that email to go to your website, we also would automatically create a group in here called Clicked on Link, but you don't see that yet either because, again, we haven't sent any email out to people where they've received it, opened it, and clicked on a link. Now, let's go, this again I like to call the summary view of your Contact Manager because it's a high-level overview of all your contacts, and again, you can sort by first name or last name. You can, these up and down arrows allow you to sort, and again, you can click on a prospect's name and that will take you to the detailed view. So let's click on that. Well, actually, one last thing here. If you want to change the different columns that display here across the top from left to right for your contact, you would click on Display Settings, and that's where you can choose. Let's actually click on that. And you can see here that you can turn on or off by simply clicking which particular fields you want to see displayed on the summary view that we just went to. You can also change how many contacts you can see per page. You can sort your contacts by the most recent at the top, also by the time zone, and have a default group of Show All Contacts or Took Survey. Okay, so if I want to update this and say show 25 prospects, and I don't want, well, let's just say we're going to leave everything else the same, but you get the idea. You can add or remove any of these choices by simply clicking in a box or unclicking with the left button on your mouse and then clicking the update button. Now let's go back. Now that we've updated that, let's go back to our contacts, and over here we go to our default group, which again is Took Survey, and now we're going to click on the name to see the detailed view of this particular contact. Now that we're over here in the detailed view for this particular contact, you'll notice there's some more buttons over here. Submit as if you're going to change anything in the fields here. Contacts will take you back to the summary view where we just were. Search if you need to search for someone. Print if you want to print out information on this particular contact. And then over here we have the opportunity for you to rate prospects, which we'd highly suggest you do. If you're talking to a prospect and you think they're a hot prospect, you might want to rate them as a 5. If they're mediocre, maybe a 3. If they're terrible, 0. You can rate these any way you want, and then once they're rated, you can sort your contacts on the summary view, the page we were just on previously. So let's say we've talked to this prospect and we rate them as a 4. They're now rated as a 4 prospect. We tell you that they took it tells you that they've taken the survey on your website. And now I'm going to scroll down a little bit because there's some very important information here underneath here. This tells me, well, by default normally it's on notes, but I've used this contact before, so I'm going to click on notes, and when I click on notes, it's going to come to a page that will allow me to see, when I scroll down here, it will allow me to see all the questions that were asked on your survey and the responses by that prospect. So it will tell you on July 5th at 3:55 p.m. this prospect answered the question, what's the #1 reason for interest in your business? And they said, I want more time with my kids. That's very valuable information for you to know because you want to use that information when you follow up with your prospects. Our contact manager is going to allow you to take notes. You can always add a note by simply clicking on the Add Note button over here. And if that prospect tells you they want more time with their kids, I would highly suggest that you ask them, hey, say something like, hey, I noticed that when you took my survey on my website, you said you want to spend more time with your kids. I think that's amazing. I have children. I love them too. How many kids do you have? How old are they? What are their names? Start creating rapport, ask them questions, find out the information that's most important to them, and add it when you click on Add Note. Now you'll see all the other questions that they asked here from the answered in the survey and their answers. So let's say I'm talking to this prospect. I clicked on Add Note and say Joe has 3 children and 2 are boys and 1 is a girl. The boys are, and then you put in their age, and the girl, oops, helps if I type correctly, right? Girl's name is Mary, and she's 11 years old. Okay, so I can save that. Now these little colors down here, that's just an extra way for yourself, if another way for you to maybe rate information. If you think you've got some really valuable information, you might pick, maybe you like the color green or red or whatever. This is totally subjective, whatever you want to do, and click on Save Note. You don't have to pick a color, but let's say I now have saved my note. Now the important thing here is after I've saved my note, if when I go to call my prospect back at a later date, and now I'll see the information here, I'll see that I typed in on 7/18, oh, I hit the submit button twice, that's why we have 2 of those. So let me show you how to delete one. This little red X here is how you would delete a note if you want to delete one, and here's that little green color that I showed you. So let's just click on that red X. It will ask you, do you want to delete that note forever? You say, sure, I want to delete that, and now we're back to just having the one note. And as you notice, I just typed in Joe has 3 children, 2 are boys, etc. Now let's say I have a whole bunch of notes that I'm keeping track of, notes on this particular prospect for 3 months, and I've got, I've called him 20 times as an example. Let's say I forget the girl's name and I want to look it up, but I remember he had a girl. So I'm going to type in, we have a little search notes field here, and I can just type in a word like the word girl, click on find, and then it automatically will come up with just your notes and highlight the word that you have searched for. So it will tell me, hey, this is the only note entry that has the word girl in it. And then I can quickly look in here and go, oh yeah, he's got a girl named Mary and she's 11 years old. So this way, when you follow up with your prospect, bring that up. You know, remember originally this prospect said spending more time with their kids was what was most important to them, and then you might want to bring that up in a future conversation. Hey Joe, I remember you've got a couple boys, and I think you said a girl named Mary who's around, what, 11 years old, and what do you think that's going to do for your prospect? There's a saying in business that people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if you remember important items about your prospect, then they're much more likely to feel like they know, like, and trust you. So that's the notes option here. Also, you've got an option here to click on to print all your notes if you ever want to print out your notes. Now we have another link here called Reminders, and you can click on Add a New Reminder. There's a saying in this business that the fortune is in the follow-up. So you'll get a little pop-up page. You'll be able to see a calendar here and go forward or backward. And let's say you want to schedule a reminder for July. It tells you, you see that today's date is highlighted. Let's say you want to schedule a reminder for July 26th. You know that, hey, that's next Thursday at 9 a.m. in the morning, and you want to schedule another one on July 30th at 9:30 in the morning, and then you just schedule your notes here. Follow up with Joe as he's a great prospect, whatever. So you type in whatever you want. Now if you only want to send yourself one notification, you can click this little box here. This is that you don't want the second notification, but I'd like to have two different reminders spread out over different days, and all I need to do is click on the add button, and now I have those reminders which are now scheduled. You'll notice here under reminders, my first reminder is on July 26th at 9 a.m. and my second one is on July 30th at 9:30 a.m. and here's the little comments that I typed in. So this will send you emails on those days and those times as a reminder, because again, the fortune's in the follow-up. You also can click on autoresponders. So if you're dealing with a particular prospect, you're following up with Joe, you can simply click on the link here and see a list of all the specific autoresponders that are available. Select it, click on Send Campaign Now, and if you want to view a specific autoresponder campaign, you just click on the drop-down arrow, select the campaign by just clicking on it that you want to learn more about, and click on View Campaign, and it will allow you to see that particular campaign that you want to send to your prospect. You'll also notice down here that we have a history of every single autoresponder you've ever sent this prospect. So it will give you the name of the campaign, and it will give you the date that that campaign started and the date that it ended. So that's very valuable information to know, and again, you can always click on this link to learn more about that campaign. The Groups button over here allows you to create new groups. Now we've got a couple different groups here. One by default is the name of your website. The second one is the Took Survey group. I mentioned earlier that whenever you send email to a prospect, as soon as you have one prospect that opens up an email, you'll automatically have another group created for you called Opened Email. And that will be very valuable from a marketing standpoint, because this way when you want to send follow-up email messages or autoresponder campaigns, you would be able to do that and say, hey, I want to send an autoresponder campaign to everyone that's ever opened up one of my emails. Again, another group will automatically be created for you called Clicked on Link as soon as the first time you have a prospect that clicks on a link in an email sent from our system to them. And those links are automatically added for you, so you don't have to worry about adding any special link. As soon as you send an autoresponder campaign out to a prospect, automatically for you there's a link added in there to your website, and whenever a prospect clicks on that link to go to your website, we automatically will create a new group for you the first time a prospect does it, again called Clicked on Link. Now, you can always click here to create a new group. So all you need to do is type in the group name. Maybe you want to have a group for hot prospects. So you simply type in the name of the group and click on create. And now we have a new group called hot prospects. And if you want this particular prospect that you're dealing with to be entered into the hot prospect group, all you need to do is put a little check mark there. If you want to remove this prospect from any other group, all you need to do is click in a box where they were already checked, or click again to add them back. So click adds or removes. Clicking with the left button on your mouse will add or remove a prospect from a particular group. Again, the personal group is a group that is automatically set up for you, and that's whenever you add a new prospect from our contact manager. If you come up here to contacts and click on add. So whenever you add a prospect or a contact one at a time by going to contacts add, they're automatically added to your personal group. Okay, let's go down a little further. Let's talk about the last few options here from the detailed view of this particular contact. We have another option here for mail status. This mail status is very important. It tells you this contact is not on the do not